In this video help, I'm going to be covering the application for Lodging Management Pro version 3. What we're going to be covering to start with is we're going to talk about the main screen that when the application opens up, what you're going to be seeing and how to use this application. First of all, let's take a look at the app navigation. The app navigation is a list of all the screens in the application, and they're broken up in color groups to show you the information that is provided in that group. For example, this is all the booking information about booking, lodging, and the related fields and screens within the booking area. Now, a lot of these screens are consolidated into the booking customer screen. So if you're looking at the application and you want to do a lot of the work in the application, which is called the back end, basically in this popover, you would have the booking places where you start and where you do a lot of your information. For example, the room ad portal is also part of the main screen. The billing items are main of the part screen where you can actually adjust the billing. The payment is also on the main screen. The expenses are not, and the employee information where you have employees that are working where you're scheduling them is not on the front screen. Let's talk a little bit about this calendar. This is an add-on that was added in the application. What it does is it provides the platform for tracking and managing on a calendar all of your appointments as far as anything that is an appointment and or a lodging requirement coming in. On the version that is the iOS for the iPad in a single user mode, you have one drop down, which is the administrator, and that is all that is included. If you wanted to, you could add additional information where it would come back into the to the particular application where you could have additional people managing this, but this would require you putting in a password and username under the users. And this can be explained if you want to, but I'll handle that separately as a support requirement if you wanted to get in touch with us. Now recall that this application has lifetime support for the owner of the person that bought it, and there is no expense to that. I try to do all of my support using the application called Skype, where either you could show me your screen or I can show you my screen, and I can show you how to do things that you have questions about or if you want to add capabilities. Let's take a look at the actual calendar. If you wanted to, you could do a search based on a keyword on any field in this area. So what it would do is it would bring up any words that have, say for example, Franklin or Ben Franklin. It should go out and find those wherever they're at. And normally when you do that, you'd probably want to look at them in the list view up here, where I'm going to click on list, where it would have a list of the room information on this area over here. Now these would be two Ben Franklins in here, by the way. That's interesting for different days and different things. But they do show you the room that he's assigned to, and in this current situation, he's arriving or whatever as far as the current status is concerned. Let's go ahead and look at the user just for only one reason. You can see that there is one user in here currently. If you have a multi-user version on the cloud or an individual user version on an iPad, probably on a Mac or a PC, that would allow you to add additional users in here where they would log in and you could have multiple users at one time on the application. But for this purposes on iOS, there is only one single iPad per user, and this is what you would be managing on this particular application. Now, what there is one appointment showing here, and I'm going to show you how this works. You go ahead and you add a new one by clicking on the plus. It'll drop down and put a new one in on this line. And basically, I'm going to show you what one looks like that's already created. Let's go ahead and pop on it. I'm going to show you there's two ways to access it. You can access it through tapping on this green arrow or clicking or tapping on the title. I'm going to go ahead and, in this case, I'm using a desktop to show you how it works on the actual iPad. And I'm simulating the iPad in Xcode, which is the application that writes these the application itself. So if I click on this, it's going to bring up the screen and pop up the keyboard like you would see on the iPad. You can go to next and previous fields by just tapping on this and working your way through the different fields. This is true for any of the screens in the application. And you can pick the actual times and stuff like that. For example, if I wanted to click in here and I wanted to go to that field, I can scroll up and down and add the appropriate time for AM or PM. the next thing you would do is you would type in, and what I suggest that most people do is because it is read on the calendar, as far as reading it and seeing it, you want to put the room assigned and the person that it is assigned to. How do you know who it's assigned to? If this is a new booking and you've never had this person there before, you're going to have to go to the back end of the application, and as you'll see in here, there's only a few people currently in there. You would either add them and then come back and insert them in this area here. So, and there are no other users in here, so you always have the same one clicked on here so that it shows up on the calendar in the administrative calendar level. You do have some drop downs in here where you can add some information. For example, you could say booked, pending, or whatever, or add your own values for new information that you want to add in there by, say, edited the values. And then you can type in here, you could say booked and any other comment that you want to make in there by just working the keyboard. And as all the new applications do, anything you start typing will give you a prompt for what might be going into that particular location. If you click in this, it's going to tell you how many current records are in the application, and you can actually go from record to record by clicking on these arrows. Now, I don't suggest doing this in the calendar because it's inappropriate in the calendar, but it is for other screens in the application. Now, when you're in this screen, you have a couple of other things you can do. Now, this is the initial screen for adding data, but there's actually three different entry levels of this. When you're adding a new record, it's a different screen than what you're showing here, but it carries the data over. There's also a view where you would view the information. Right now we're in the view mode. And then you would have an edit screen where if you wanted to edit it, you would have it in the edit mode. Now, when you come into this record, you have some options. Say, for example, you're looking at room availability. You can go in and look at all your rooms that you add, and these will not show when you get your application. This is this information that was added so that we'd have some records to work with as far as the demonstration version of this application. In this case, you put in the back end of the application, you build all the rooms in there by the add room screen. You put the number of the room, and on this screen, what you're looking at is the information from the back end of the application, whether or not this is an available room, and these are the different statuses you can add, or you want to change the current date of the availability information that was added. For example, if it says it's available or it's booked or whatever, you're going to be clicking in here and changing that appropriately. And these states can be edited on the back end of the application if you want to add additional ones in there. But this is used throughout the application, and any time you change it on the back end, then it would be changed up here on the calendar as well. And then, of course, you just add the status date for which date you changed it. In this case, being the 10th and the date that I'm doing this on March 10th, that would be the date that I would put in there as a change that I make on the front end. Now, if you click anywhere off of this or tap off of it or tap on another button, it's going to give you the information of the actual bookings that are in there currently. Now, the newest ones are going to always be at the top, the older ones at the bottom. So as you scroll in or go to the top and add one at the bottom, it's going to pop it up to the top of the screen when you're done. It would show you the individual rooms that are currently active. Now, you do not add rooms in or edit them in this screen. You basically go to the back end, but you can, if you want to, edit some of the information. It's inappropriate to add or change information in this screen. It should be done on the back. For example, if you're adding a new thing, now you can do one thing. You can adjust or look to see if the person's name or other names are in here that you're looking for if you wanted to change your room status to a different name in this area. Okay, so I don't suggest what you do is delete any of these records. It's inappropriate to delete records. What you'd want to do is show them as completed. When you show them as completed, they're dropped into the completed list instead of inactive. If I go back to this screen and I also can hit completed here, you'll see that it draws a line through the person that is here to show you that that is a completed activity. Now, understand when you're doing these kinds of things, and for example, this is the date, the current date. They came in on the 9th at 9 a.m. They left on the 10th at 11 a.m., which is the closing time that they were supposed to be leaving. And then there's an icon in the actual record when you edit it where it says reservation requested. But in actuality, you can go in, if it's a different situation, you can change that by dropping down this and changing the icon on the desktop to one of these. For example, call the customer about something, cancel the reservation, a customer departed, pending reservation, booked, reservation, reservation deposit required, and required a request as a room is requested. Now in this case, since he's leaving and it's gone, I'm going to say customer departed, and it's going to change the icon. You don't need to change anything else in here. Now if you say completed and go back out here, you'll see that it completed it, it showed it, and now it says the icon out here is customer departed. Now let's take a look at some more information in the calendar, since this is a very interesting calendar. It has a lot of capabilities. If for some reason this customer missed an appointment and didn't show up, that appointment would jump over to the expired appointments, and it'd be in here, and you have to take some action on it as far as expired. This would hold all the expired appointments until you do something on them, even when you change between dates. Now, if I move over to another date in either forward or backward, it's going to remove the current ones for that current date and only show the ones that are available for the date that you're viewing. In addition, it'll always put an underline in the actual date under the date thing if there's an actual appointment on that screen for that period of time. If you say show the occupancy or occupied dates, if you take this off, you'll see it removes the line. If you click it, it puts it back in again. You do not need to worry about things like relogin, preference, and profiles. These are all things that are not done unless you're an administrator. And you would not be adding users or multilingual language. You do not need to be doing that kind of stuff. If you do want to view the video help, when you click on it up here, will change the screen and show you all the videos for this application on a screen-by-screen basis as appropriate for the things that they're presenting to you. Let's go ahead and look at the calendar over here, and you'll see that we had the appointment for the 9th and 10th, and you can see down here is the daily and the weekly together, where you can see the activity and the information. In this case, the information down here is a pending request on the back end right now. If I went to the back end and changed it, it would update it here, and it also update the room that this person was in. And this is follow-on information because now this is completed. This is historical only. Now, each one of these up here, you can add a date or a calendar event by clicking on the plus, or you can click on the actual date here to go to that particular date, or you can go to the month calendar and you can click on any of the activities that are here. For example, if I wanted to go to this one, I can go to its record and edit it. I could say close it and go back to the month calendar, or I can click on the date on any of these and go to those dates and click the plus to add something on those dates. And so you can go way ahead and add a calendar item that is going to occur on a date way out without having to move the calendar on the one that you showed for the week or day events, the daily events. So daily and weekly, and if I wanted to do a month, it'd make it very easy to add them on this screen. Then you can look at them from the year standpoint, and if you're looking at it on the year standpoint, you're really looking at this for historical information rather than adding them a whole year ahead or months ahead. Then there's the list for all the activities that are going to be listed here. You can edit those and work with that information on the calendar. And in this case, I have a date way, 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 way back here where it was completed. And I just want to show you that you can go back and look at things that are completed that are historical, and what room the person was at and what the last status was. In this case, I haven't really taken a lot of effort to put the exact dates information that's supposed to be in there, but I could put departed and update it that way for the room that it was in from this screen. The next thing you want to do when you're in this screen is make sure that you always go back to the day calendar, because this is where you want to navigate from, and the navigation button is on this screen. And then you would use this to navigate next to your booking screen. If you have a new appointment that has not, a person that has not been to your lodging before, and they're not a historical person in there, and they're not listed, you can go ahead and go to the customer booking next, and that'll be the next screen we're going to be talking about. So let's go there next in the next video.